Mindfulness, everyone talks about tactical awareness, but there is no higher level of tactical awareness than Buddhistic mindfulness. If I had a choice between being joyful, grateful, and totally connected with my environment, or being paranoid and twitchy and responding to every noise, I would always want mindfulness. But too often in reality-based self-defense, people start to focus on this idea of tactical awareness. And it comes with a lot of paranoia and prepper mindset. I want to be mindful. I want to be connected. I want to be connected with what's around me to make the minimum opening for fear. And then the final consideration, if we talk about training, we're going to do a lot of material, a lot of stuff this week. The concern is always consistency and continuity. How do I maintain the motivation? Understand and accept that if something is always unpleasant, if it's always difficult, if there is no joy in it, it is very difficult to maintain consistency. So yes, we are going to face some things this week that are uncomfortable. I'm going to help push you there. That's why you come to camps. If we could all do it alone, we would do it alone. But afterwards, we have to realize that the best way that we can maintain it and achieve consistency is through mindful, grateful awareness. Training does not need to maintain the intensity you will encounter this week. These are for periodic spot checks. After that, you can never undo that experience. You will always have that experience in your hardwiring, in your system. And it'll be like a reference book that you can just refer back to. And now take a nice deep breath. And very slowly, guys, roll onto one side. Take a second to let your pulse adjust. At your leisure, you will sit up. Last 90 seconds of talking before we go. This idea of value and gratitude and fear, for me, are very important. They're very intrinsically connected. You know, a lot of the traditional martial arts, certainly our logo in jiu-jitsu, it's based on this idea of the tripartite division of mind, body, spirit. We think about value. Value is very much a cognitive thing. I can think about all the things and I can say, yeah, how many times do people come in, and if you teach people, you'll see this all the time, I know I shouldn't have but. I know I shouldn't have let the guy bring my groceries into the house, but. I know I should have left the bar at that point, but. I know I should feel really thankful because of X, Y, and Z, but. What always beats cognition is emotion. Emotion is a driver. We're primal. You don't binge eat because cognitively you know it's a bad idea, so I'll do it. You binge eat, or you drink, or you do whatever because of emotion. It's always emotion that overrides it. And if we get into fear, fear is very much a bodily thing. When if I took somebody who is deeply frightened and I exposed them against their will, I just exposed them over and over. If it's too fast, too hard, their body will still learn. They'll become like a beaten dog. They'll become aggressive and angry, but the body will still learn to overcome the fear. The fear gets replaced with just pure aggression. If I do it slowly and carefully, then you can have trained responses. And by gradual exposure, it's what's known as exposure therapy in psychology, you become used to it. And then if we talk about gratitude, for lack of a better word, I don't want to have a religious connotation, but if we talk about spirit, about will, arguably, spirit is sometimes kind of a cognitive thing, sometimes kind of an emotional thing, but it's a feeling that surpasses just the primal basic thing. It's a higher order feeling. Base desires, sex, fear, hunger, those are base desires. Those are very much in the body. But when people rise up, when you look at people in horrible circumstances that rise up, that do things that are impossible, they're accessing an emotion that's far stronger. It's a gratitude, it's a connectiveness. We talk about fear of death, it's very much in the body. You talk about bypassing the fear of death. Warrior traditions since the beginning of time have achieved to do this, right? And it's sought to do this, and this is the goal. And so the helpful way for us to look at it, when I look at it, is that fear is always going to outweigh value. You're always going to have a fear that's going to make you do something even though you know it's wrong. I know I should have helped my family, but I ran away. I froze, right? That happens to good people. It's not because they're bad people that they do it. Fear is always going to be a superior weight. The only thing that outweighs it is belief. And so this week we're going to be looking very much at how we can build our belief. The first tenet of having belief in ourselves is skills confidence. So what I want you to do right now is I want you to just think of open-handed hitting. Just a simple slap to the head. When we train open-handed hitting, there's a number of drills you guys are already familiar with. I'll ask people, give me your hardest hit. I'll ask people, give me your fastest hit. And then I'll look at the room, and 95% of the room gave me the same hit. Because we're unable to really connect and say, I'm going to let myself be fast. People are afraid to try to be fast because they don't think they can be fast. And in their brain, they already defeat themselves and say, well, yeah. I said, fucking go fast, man. Fucking go. They're afraid to look. Kids don't care. Kids will put everything on the line and drop down. But adults and adolescents, oh, fuck, we're done. Yeah? I said, give me as much power as you have. Last night, we were working on predator-prey switch. Right? We had 8 people here. Give me anger, give me rage. There were 3 guys that never lost their smile. They couldn't get past the laughing. And that's okay at the beginning. But between us, if I was a predator with my skill, and I would fucking see that guy, it's easy lunch. Destroyed. If you can't get the aggression out now, and you're just saying, well, when it comes to the day of the race, then I'm going to run fast. It's all going to come out. But until then, I'm going to deny it. That's a big gamble. Maybe. But generally, what do we know? We know that stress is going to erode our performance. Right? So we're not going to be better than we are now. We're going to be much worse. So if we can't make it better and release it now and get used to it, if it does come out by fluke, then at least we can say we're completely unfamiliar with it. Coming out of you like Ghostbuster rays. You have no idea what's going on. Yeah, the original one, not the remake. So, we are going to train just palm hits. And you can start off slowly and methodically. But this is the first thing I want to consider. When we talk about self-defense, we always say that one of the first things we never want to do is stay directly in front of somebody. Right? We'd like to turn our body at an angle, ideally blade the body. And if I can just get a little bit zoned out, move 5 centimeters to one side, preferably away from the priority power hand, amazing. And if I get my hands up and bring them into interaction and start to talk, awesome. And when I have 1 hour to teach self-defense, these are the first things I teach. But this is the reality. Just turning your body is amazingly difficult in a fight. Because when we freeze, we do the opposite. Our body goes here, and our hands go low, and we stay stuck in a tractor beam between 10 and 2. Right? So even you guys, everybody in this room cognitively, deeply knows blade fence zone. You all know this. But you don't have to be experienced bouncers or law enforcement officers. Go on YouTube. How many examples do you see of people coming up like this, hands down, the other guy puts his hands down, head down, cowers? If it's happening to them, the tendency, the desire in our animal is there. It can happen to us. So this week we need to train it, until even when we're like ready to vomit, when our body's in natural, the belly's out, the hands are up in fear, we're still at a bodily level zoning and blading and fencing. Because if we're not doing it then, it's not reliable. It's only in the head. Right? It's still at this level, at the value level. And we know fear is going to destroy that. Has to. The only way to get past fear is into belief. Skills, confidence that are so smooth. It's mastery. It's there. We know. It's the only way. So what we're going to start with is our partner is going to have 2 mitts like this. And we're going to practice hitting. But most of the time when we hit, we do one of 2 things. We either take a super comfortable distance, no problem, or we start right away in a boxing sort of configuration where we've zoned out, and now we have our jab in the jab slot, our cross in our cross slot, and it's amazing. We're going to start awkwardly close. Not yet bladed. Not yet zoned. Stuck in the funnel. Because when somebody does this, and the first thing in your head is, and you freeze, and then your brain overrides, and you say, fucking guys, I'm going to hit. Most people have not yet bladed, not yet zoned. They've not yet fenced. Their hands are here. And now they are stuck, but at a reflexive level, because in their training, they didn't push their blading, their zoning past the cognitive, but they did hit until they were very tired. So the hitting is there, the reflex and the timing to hit is there, and they do it from a shitty position. And when you try to use an open hand strike from here, it's very short. It's compressed, and it doesn't feel good. So if you are hitting for this drill from a distance or a range or an angle that is good and comfortable and convenient, don't. Move too close, stay right in front of them. So that at the very base, if you get ambushed, alarmed, and surprised, we now have some familiarity hitting there. One of the great pitfalls of intermediate to advanced level practitioners is we get so used to doing it the way we want, setting up things, doing things the way it should be. You go up against a white belt with no skill, fuck, it's hard, man. because that person's not following any of my rules. It's not supposed to be that way. Unorthodox is very tough. And this isn't unorthodox. This is just unfamiliar to the trained person. This is how your body responds. You end up being here and you're kind of on your heels and you don't have a loaded stance and, oh, I got to hit. And everything gets tense. Last night we started to just tempt it a little bit by saying get angry. Just try to get angry. People were barely showing aggression on the face. But the very first thing that happened is the whole shoulder would fuse up and the power was getting crap and people started to miss the pad and everything went because of a lack of familiarity with that basic close proximity. So one partner is going to grab two small focus mitts. They're going to hold them close. You're going to be at that distance. We're only using open hand strikes. But if I feel really good here, I would ask and submit that you challenge yourself and put yourself 1 centimeter in. And if I'm always good hitting a little bit to my left, then go off a little bit to my right. Where we have a favored side. I'm left-handed. I love this. This is a little bit awkward and weird for me. If I'm here, I'm actually better because I keep it tighter and give myself more with my left. So 1 centimeter too close, 1 centimeter too far over, everything changes. We're going to do the same person hitting for quite a while. I will tell you when to switch. Let's begin.